So I feel it's very important to really do what we love in life because that sense of fulfillment shines through to rest of our life.
Hello and welcome to the Career Flipper podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Dempsey, just a regular human out here trying to make sense of work, life, and all the weird in-between stuff, one messy, unexpected change at a time. So here's the deal though, I am not some perfectly polished career change expert. I spent 18 years in the customer experience world at tech startups and really thought I was climbing the right career ladder. But then, the ladder kind of vanished. I got laid off, hit with hundreds of job rejections, and kept running into closed doors. It felt like the career I'd worked so hard to build was basically saying, nope, not this way anymore. So I had to figure out a new way forward. I did some freelancing to stay afloat, and then one day I grabbed this old junky coffee table from my friend's basement, gave it a total makeover, and totally fell in love with furniture flipping. Check out San Diego Furniture Flipper on TikTok and Instagram if you want to see the magic. And then one night I had this super random dream and woke up thinking, okay, I guess I'm starting a podcast now. Because honestly, career changes are weird. They're overwhelming, they can be lonely, confusing, and super imposter syndrome inducing. And I just had so many questions like, how do people pivot without completely losing their minds? How do you keep going when everything feels uncertain and you have very little money left in your savings account? And how do you balance full-time work with side gigs and still sleep? So instead of spinning in my own little anxiety tornado, I thought, why not talk to people who've actually done it? So here we are. And each week I sit down with everyday folks who've made bold, messy, brave, or totally unexpected career flips. We get into the good, the bad, and the what am I even doing moments so you can feel a little less alone. And today's guest is an absolute beam of light. I'm chatting with Victoria Tara, a Ukrainian-born contemporary artist who now lives in Miami, Florida. Her journey is just so full of color, both literally and metaphorically. Victoria started her career in psychology, then moved into real estate, interior design, and eventually followed her heart into the world as a full-time artist. Her paintings are bold, bright, soulful, and overflowing with energy. And in this conversation, she opens up about what it really took to trust herself and make the leap. We talk about the role of spirituality and meditation in her creative process, how art became a tool for healing and personal growth, and why every experience, even the messy, uncertain ones, adds to the big picture of who we're becoming. She also gets super practical, sharing advice for anyone trying to make time for creativity while juggling life and work and all the things. So if you've ever felt that quiet nudge, or maybe it's a loud inner scream, pulling you towards something more fulfilling, this one's for you. Let's dive in. Victoria, I am so curious. The inspiration for your paintings, specifically that really bright green one in the back. I know people listening can't see this, but how do you find inspiration? And in the shortest way you can describe it, how do you find inspiration?
Well, first of all, I want to express my sincere gratitude for being here with you and our listeners, and I'm really grateful. I'm really happy to be here with you. And that painting, the green one, is called the Healing Journey. It actually, maybe we could share my website somewhere in the notes where we could point out to that painting as well. Healing Journey. Well, all of my paintings, unless it's a commission, they reflect my own process, of course, like any artist, I would imagine. So at that time, it was a very intense time when I was undergoing deep healing emotionally and physically and spiritually. And I just got my art studio here, this one, the one you can see. And for me, it was kind of like a point of like, okay, now I could relax and I could heal. And this painting came through. And it was actually also during the COVID when everything shut down.
Mm-hmm.
and there was like nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So, so I was happily stuck in my art studio, and I was like, okay, great, nowhere to go. So I just focused fully on my art, and this is the painting that came through, the first one.
That's awesome. And that's the one that I was gravitating to and I love hearing the background on that. I'm so happy you're here, Victoria. I always love starting with a fun random question. So thanks for letting me dive into that. Um, but it is really great to have you here. You know, I heard you speak on Galena Marcus's In the Art Scene podcast, and I instantly resonated with your episode, your story of how you flipped your career in multiple different ways and found your way into art. And I think it's an incredibly bold leap and an incredibly brave leap to find our way to something that is actually going to not only be our job, but something that's also going to nurture us, just as you explained with this one particular piece, which we'll definitely drop in the show notes, but how these things that we find can also become part of our healing as we are doing them. So, Victoria, tell everybody who you are, where you are in the world, and what you're doing today, and then we'll dive into your career flip.
Sure. Well, I am now located in Miami, Florida. I've been here for about 24 and a half years, almost 25. I moved to the States in 2000. And originally I'm from Ukraine. So, I'm been here doing all kind of different things. So it was a big move, obviously.
Mhm.
Uh, and a lot of things has changed. And I felt like all of a sudden I was free to just do what I always wanted to do, but for some reasons I somehow didn't have a chance. So I just like exploded with everything when I moved here. And so I got my second education here in the States. My first one I got in Ukraine, which is clinical psychology. Have master degree in clinical psychology. But I always, since I remember myself, I always wanted to be an artist. It just, I guess it's such a challenging thing for the parents to accept when their child wants to do something as they see it not so practical and not very like concrete and like a job. But my both parents had a 9 to 5 job. And secretly, when I was a child watching them, I mean, my father really loved what he was doing. My mom was not so sure. But just watching them going every day, somehow it was weird. As a child, I remember myself looking at that and thinking, I don't want to do that. I want to be free. Yeah, I want to work hard. I want to build something, but I want to really love it. And I want to be flexible. I want to wake up in the morning and sort of like see how it goes. And, it's like I don't have to do what I don't want to do. Somehow maybe it was a rebellion spirit of mine at some point, but I don't know. I mean, I did have jobs in my life. It was okay. I loved what I was doing as well, but now I'm really in love. I am so being an artist. It has been a long journey. Um, Let me start from the beginning. Like when I was a child, I always wanted to be an artist, and I painted, and I went to art school when I was in high school. It was like two schools: in the morning high school, and then it was a 7 years art school in the evenings, which was really intense for a child to go through that. But I was so determined that I really want to be an artist. And then after that, it's like, what do you do? We just don't have a specific like university for artists
Mm.
where I was from. It was very so not like quite industrial, but also it was just like not very artsy oriented kind of place where I was growing up. I was more like an alien there, like a usual kid. So And my parents, I was 17 after school, after I graduated from art school, and my parents just didn't want to have me go to another city anywhere, basically anywhere away from home. They
Mhm.
felt like I'm not ready. I don't know. That's how it happened. So they said, pick anything. As soon as it's you stay at home.
Mm.
Out everything. I picked the most they thought was the craziest other thing, as crazy as being an artist, which was psychology.
Mm. Mhm.
And so yes, I graduated, and it was the most amazing experience, just learning about myself and other people. And of course, I gravitated towards art psychology, art therapy, psychology of unconscious, archetype, um, everything to do with psychology of creativity. That was my area, of
Mhm.
course.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then just because before graduation, they would be like, so, okay, so who would you be? Like, what kind of job would you have? And long story short, they kind of like redirected me towards psychology and marketing,
Mm. Mhm.
psychology of advertisement. So I graduated with that, and I got the job right away. Really interesting private company that was booming at the time. So had a job as marketing psychologist,
Mm. Yeah.
which was fine. I really enjoyed the environment. We traveled for work, went to England. For me at the time, it was like amazing. And so yeah, and then long story short, I moved to the States, and I still had that dream to be something to do with arts, and I wanted to be an interior designer.
Mhm.
So I went to Miami Art Institute. I got my second degree in interior design,
Nice. Yeah.
and I thought that will satisfy my artistic kind of um, uh, desire to be creative. Somehow, I did not dare to even want to be like a free artist. I
Mm.
thought it's supposed to be in some kind of context of interior design or something like or art therapy. Anyway, so I worked for a few years in Palm Beach in very, very beautiful, small, very exquisite interior design, um, like boutique
Mhm.
studio. We did truly amazing projects there. And then I thought, I want to have my own business. I want to have my own interior design company. I don't want to have somebody else's name. I
Mhm.
was just so ambitious back then. And so then I moved to Miami and I thought, well, I want to do design on my own property because as an artist, I will really do what I want with design versus working for client. And, that was kind of easy. I want to like take it to the next step and have my own office and my own name and all that. So I thought, okay, so I need to buy my own property so I could do my own design on my own um, space. So okay, so let's get the real estate license. Oh boy, um, it just real estate kind of just took me. It was back in 2004, and it was booming in Miami a lot. So I kind of got into the flow of. I worked for developers.
Mm.
I
Mhm.
of course bought my own property. I started the project designing it, but I was already so involved in just real estate and what it had at the time. It was just like very happening.
Yeah.
So okay, and then the whole thing crashed.
Right. Oof. What did you do
uh,
then?
I had three properties at the time that I was renting out. I did my design, and it was doing great. And then it just, I guess it was a point of my inner development that I felt like, just running after material, some kind of like another job or another project or another this, another that, somehow did not satisfy me because I already work with such a beautiful properties and clients and everything was great, except for something inside of me was missing, like I'm not living my life or something. And I didn't understand what it is that is missing. It was something like the happiness I had, but it was like a glimpse of it. I wanted it more permanent.
Yeah.
And I could not understand what it is, but it sort of like translated itself into me getting into meditation and spirituality and traveling to India and having a spiritual mentor, teacher. So I started traveling to see um, spiritual teachers that I resonated with. And that totally changed who I am, totally changed my values, my directions in life. All of a sudden, I just wanted to go within and meditate and go deeper. And it was like incredibly fulfilling. That experience of deep contentment, deep fulfillment that I had it before, but before it was like a glimpses of it. And now it was more um, all encompassing kind of. so, and then in one of my trips to India, the paintings came back to me. I just had a vision of my first painting while I was in Ganga, just taking like purification. It was a specific time of Kumbh Mela. It was very like auspicious time to get into Ganga and to like dip the whole body in the Ganga. And I had no idea at the time what the whole thing means. I just followed. And I had a vision of my first painting and this knowing that that's what I'm going to be doing next. So I came back to Miami. I started my first painting, and it was already like what you see. It's just like the circular motion. It's like mandala type of very colorful, uplifting, like happy painting. It was in 2010, so 14 years ago, quite a while. So I still kept my real estate license. I'm still active. I still do, um, you know, real estate, but sort of like it also shifted on a different level now. I don't actively kind of chase it, but if I have a referral or somebody I know needs some help, I've been doing it for 20 years, so I really know how to do it. But I'm also focusing on my art, which is such an incredible uh, fulfillment I receive from it. So I finally feel that I truly found my purpose and deep calling and as I said, everything that I'm doing also shifted, like real estate. It's so much more fulfilling as well somehow. And my relationships and my relationship with myself, with my body, So I feel it's very important to really do what we love in life because that sense of fulfillment shines through to rest of our life. So that's a short version.
Quick break for a not so sneaky plug. If you're an artist or creative who works with clients, think commissions, murals, custom furniture, or even selling your work online, then you know how tricky it can be to handle communication. Whether it's setting boundaries around revisions, replying to those just checking in messages, or figuring out how to say no without sounding like a jerk, my customer service training courses on Udemy have your back. They're short, super practical, and based on everything I learned in nearly 2 decades of working with humans. The great, the messy, and the, what do I even say to this email kind. Over 16,000 people from around the world have taken them. They're under $60 each, and yep, they help keep this podcast running. Check them out over at careerflipper.com/courses. Your clients and your creative energy will thank you. Okay, now back to the episode. Thank you for sharing all that. I have so many questions for you, Victoria. And the first question, I guess, is just kind of like the realistic day to day. So you create this art from very deep inside you and you make these vibrant, beautiful paintings. Do you have them in galleries? Do you sell them? Do you use some of that marketing psychology background and promote yourself? How does that kind of factor in to the day to day?
Sure. I think everything that I have been doing, even though it seems like kind of like a collection of random things to do, but somehow I see um from where I am right now, I see that everything that I have been doing has been perfectly orchestrated to give me experience that I had to get me to where I am right now. Every person, every education, every experience at work, I feel it was so valuable, exactly how it was. And I'm sure I'm using, my psychology knowledge, my interior design, just to
Mhm.
how to
Yeah.
place it in someone's home. It's um, I do commission work when I create a painting for a person or family or a space specifically for to uplift them. I meditate. I have a special process to do that. And so, and then of course I advise what wall to put it and how to frame it. And and psychology, I feel it's just our life. We'll deal with psychology on all of us. We'll have relationships, and even if we are decided to go and live in a cave on top of the mountains, we still have a relationship with ourselves. So psychology um, is what
Yeah.
we all need. And the way I sell it, yes, I have online galleries, and every once in a while I have art show. I'm looking for permanent representation gallery or art deal. So maybe if somebody has in mind a place which could resonate with this kind of art, I would be very grateful. So it's something that as every artist, it's a process. Um, I'm selling through personal connections, through recommendations, through websites, um, and
Yeah.
I'm yeah. And then in terms of finances, and also every once in a while, I have my real estate uh, deal going on. So all universe provides.
Right. And I think that's such an important part to share because a lot of people will, not go into art or not go into something that they like doing because they're afraid of not having money. And I think we get held back by that. And your story clearly shows that the things that you've learned in the past are really these transferable skills that now let you actually, it seems like along the way hearing your story kind of gave you permission and even ignited more, creativity to allow you to do what you're doing now. And I think that I don't know. And I speak for myself. And I think sometimes we forget that the things that we've done in the past, even though they may not be the things that we feel like we want to do forever or that bring us a lot of happiness, are things that can help be a step in the direction toward what we want. And those skills that we learned are not to be lost. They're to be repurposed in a way. And your story really highlights that, I think, because you said something early on and when we were talking was that you had a hard time kind of grasping or thinking of yourself early on as just doing art. And, you went to school and you got your master's and then, with real estate and interior design, like all of these things that are very much like easily packageable. We can understand them on a very easy level. They're easy to say, but when you say, "Yes, I'm an artist," they're are questions that come with that. There's a as an incredible, talent it is to be an artist, there is a stigma with that, like you mentioned for your parents, or you know, parents be like, we don't want our kid to be a starving artist. There's that stigma with it. There's, you tell someone and people instantly go, well, how do you make money? And so people start to like put their own stereotypes and things on this. So but it really leaning into your story and going back to this, like, it personal development, turning inward, taking the time to really reflect on your life experiences, who you want to be and how you want to be. And and what I'm hearing you say is the answers were always within you. It just took taking the time to kind of unlock them. And I'm wondering if you'd be open, Victoria, to sharing a little bit more. This time when you were in India sounds very profound, and it sounds like a big pivot point that kind of led you to down a new path. Are there things that you learned during that time? Like, whether it's through meditation or different habits or routines or thought processes or anything that kind of came through that you think could be helpful for someone who's also navigating a career flip or considering it? Are there tips or advice that you could offer from your time there that you think might help someone else? Things that really helped you?
Um, well, there's so many things. Well, what comes first is to really trust yourself, because in the hearts of our hearts, we all know what we really um born to do. Everybody has it. It's just so we live in a society that sometimes most of us, or a lot of us, or some of us, or at least I was in the environment where unwillingly, but my parents were doing everything to shut it down and to have me do what they think is good for me, not what I feel or want or love doing. And I see a lot of people coming from the same place where they have hard time trusting themselves. Um, and it's not an easy one. It's really challenging. It took me decades to finally relax and trust myself. And I feel that it was really a blessing, because um, it was not easy. But now I feel it was like the biggest blessing, that somehow, somewhere, something in me just give it a try. Just give it a good try, um and I just did it. So so it was a lot of obstacles. It's not easy, but that love and that destiny that we are born with, it will give us wings to do what we love to do. You just have to hear it and have to trust it. And which is like the most natural thing on earth, because this is, if the bird is born to fly, how can it not trust its own wings? So that's how it is. Like, it's like the most natural, easy thing to do in life. It just, unfortunately, something when we were young, some beliefs. It's just the beliefs.
Hmm. Right.
And I would also, what helped me a lot was doing my spiritual work. Like, I worked with spiritual teachers in Course in Miracles, Byron Katie, meditation, just taking time, for myself. When I went to India, I was just disconnected from everything, and I was in an environment that I had no idea what's going on.
Mhm.
Well, just I was like, what are those people doing? It was so out there, that it sort of like relaxed my mind from grasping. And it was just like pure experience of a present moment.
Yeah.
And in that place, miracles happen.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that tuning inward, even when you may not know exactly what's going on, is really important. And even, if you just take the time, whether it's meditating once a day or once a week, or even just the small little snippets that we think we can't do, or we think maybe too woo woo, are actually really incredibly beneficial. And I can speak to that because there's definitely points in my life where I was like, no, I don't meditate. No, it's not for me. But really, this past year, I made it a goal. 2024, I made it a goal to meditate at least 3 times a week, and I can and I'm not. I will say with full transparency, I love the woo woo, but I'm necessarily not so much a woo woo person myself. I can be a little skeptical, but the power of meditation. Let's just say, like it's that tuning inward and taking time is really, really valuable. So hearing you share that and really stepping outside of your comfort zone, it sounds like, led you back to you. And, Victoria, one thing that I want to ask you, because I know a lot of people listening are artists, but they also work full-time jobs and they're very stressful. And a lot of the times they don't have, or they say the story they tell themselves is they don't have the time for art. And I'm wondering if you can touch on something that may, through your journey when you found the time to do art and now you're doing it all the time. But for someone who might be not giving themselves permission to lean into the artist part of themselves, is there something that you think could be valuable for them to listen to or to do, or anything along those lines of how to give themselves that permission to just take 5 minutes a day to doodle or paint or whatever it is, to lean into that part of themselves and not trust it?
It has to trust the process. And if someone really loves painting, like I really, really, since I remember myself, I was always, as a child, painting, drawing. It's such a natural part of myself that I almost don't know how could I be not painting or drawing, Even like when I was in university and sitting at the lectures, taking notes on the side, I would be doodling, like I was drawing, because I just could not to.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure the artists that are listening to us, whether musicians and artists, visual artists, it's something that is their nature. It's what what gives them joy, what gives them, um, is who they are. um, well, of course, in our world, it helps to schedule time. Like, let's say, okay, Sunday, I'm off. Let me turn off the phone. It really helps. Don't turn on the TV. Wi-Fi off,
Yeah.
and and just see what happens. To me, sometimes I have a couple hours that I could paint, and I cannot push myself to paint. I just sit in silence then. I just sit in silence, and I just like being in silence. And then it might happen or might not happen. And something from within me just kind of comes up and unfolds. And it's my inspiration. And sometimes it's just time to rest. Nothing comes up. And I just, the thoughts are too heavy or too overwhelming, and I just have to go and take care of whatever needs to be taken care of,
Mhm.
which is okay. But then next time I do it, it comes and it comes and it comes, and sometimes it just nonstop for days. It just the day morning to the evening. I don't need to eat. I don't need to do anything. I just paint, paint, paint. But I have a practice of turning my phone off, of making sure there is not like any kind of emergencies could be happening. So I disconnect and I go within, and then I cannot control it. Then this flow just comes through. So again, meditation to me is is the way. And meditation is not particularly to sit in the lotus pose and chant Om. Meditation is a state of mind. It's we could I could wash dishes, and my mind goes into this like meditation um, space. Meditation is being present. Is whatever thought comes, who did what out there. I bring it back to okay, I'm washing dishes here, and now this is how it feels on my hands, and this is how it looks so clean and beautiful now, and it's like being really present, and somehow the mind rests within that time, and with that rest, creativity comes. It just flow opens up through that.
Mhm.
So, but if you could, um, if you're drawn to go to any kind of teacher or meditation classes, or it could be also very helpful. There's just so much going on right now. We have online. We could find any possible guide, teacher, anything, but always trust what feels true for you.
Yeah.
Someone said that will bring you to a beautiful garden full of roses. It's like a metaphor for the state of joy and contentment.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And I think the golden thread weaving through your story has been art from day one, and your ability to tune inward and find your way to where you are now through all of the schooling, through all of the jobs, and you're in a place where you're creating beautiful pieces of art and bringing them to the world. And Victoria, where can people find you? How can they see your art? How can they connect with you?
My website, uh, if we could include it, would be great. It's www.victoriatara, Tara, victoriatara.com. So that's my website, and the Instagram page I have, which is also victoria.tara.art. So be happy to share the art and stories. So thank you so much
Well, thank
for
you
your
so
call.
much for being here, for sharing your journey, and I will definitely have every link in the show notes because I want everyone to go see your artwork. Like, there's no way to describe it. You just have to see it. And so I just
Yeah,
thank
you
you
cannot
so much.
describe art. It's not easy.
Yeah,
How
there are
can
no
you-
words. It is,
I have people asking me a lot, like, artists, what kind of art do you do? I was like, well, let me show you.
yeah,
How can I describe?
right.
So first I say I paint the light, but
Oh,
that's not much of a not very concrete to
yeah.
explain.
No, it definitely, once people see it, they will understand. And so I hope that this brings enough curiosity to them to go check it out. So definitely, if you're listening, go check it out. Victoria, thank you so much again for being here. You are wonderful. I appreciate you.
Thank you. So are you.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Career Flipper Podcast. To connect with Victoria, check out the links in the show notes. If today's story hit home, or you know someone who's stuck in their own career limbo, share this episode with them. Seriously, it might be exactly what they need to hear to keep going when things get really challenging. Oh, and if you got your own career flip story, or maybe you know someone who has one, head over to thecareerflipper.com to see how you can be part of a future episode. And hey, just remember, every tiny step counts, even when it doesn't feel like it. You got this. What's the best that could happen?